Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ed Greig, and I am the Chief Disruptor for Deloitte. My job and my team's job is to work with new technology and understand how we can get it delivering tangible benefits as quickly as possible to our clients, to ourselves as a company, and to wider society. Today, I want to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation, and the differences between these three things. So, a lot of you will have heard about artificial intelligence, and you will have heard this word used a lot. But it's interesting because the definition of it is something that's quite vague. In essence, it's where we are trying to get machines to mimic human intelligence in the way that they do something. But I think the interesting thing with artificial intelligence is that often, as soon as it becomes kind of embedded in daily life, people stop calling it artificial intelligence and just start looking at it as something that's solving a particular problem. So, for example, when Netflix recommends you a new movie to watch, or whether Amazon recommends you a new product to buy, these are things that in the past would have been regarded as artificial intelligence, but now it's just called a recommendations engine. Or when Google does facial recognition on your photos and is able to kind of sort your photos and categorize your photos by the objects in them. That again was something that would have been and is absolutely right to be kind of classed as artificial intelligence, but it's kind of disappeared into the background once people kind of accept it. Once it just starts to solve a problem, kind of an everyday problem, then people no longer regard it as artificial intelligence. But that has contributed to the fact that there is this sort of fuzzy definition around it, and people regard it as something that's in the future, when in fact we see already lots of examples where this type of human-like intelligence, things that we thought were that were took a human to do, like sorting photographs and things like that. These are now being done by machines. So this is artificial intelligence, basically machines kind of mimicking a human-like intelligence. And a lot of that artificial intelligence that we are seeing, like the recommendations engine example, like the image recognition example, that is being driven by something known as machine learning. So machine learning is essentially where a computer is given a lot of data, and it is given some test data that is kind of pre-categorized, and then it will learn from that based on that data. That then allows it to learn and keep learning on new data that it is given, and kind of continually improving its results. So basically lots and lots of data where the computer keeps checking and checking its results against kind of a series of tests, and keeps getting better and better at doing a particular task. So for example, when you are doing those CAPTCHAs where when you're on Google and it asks you to point to all of the boxes that have a traffic light in them, you are effectively creating test data for a machine, so that then the machine is able to then go through and kind of correlate where it thought the traffic lights were with where a human also thought the traffic lights were. So it's basically looking for, and so you are therefore helping the machine to kind of learn. And there's a number of different ways in which the machines can do this. But essentially, the key is that you have got lots and lots of data, and some data that's kind of pre-categorized that the machine can kind of use as a starting point, and then it will then learn from that. And so that's true of the recommendations on Netflix, where you would give them kind of lots of data about the type of films that people watched, and then the type of films that they watched afterwards, and then the machines would then use that to kind of learn what the kind of the best approach would be. So this is machine learning, which then is powering a lot of that artificial intelligence. And then finally, there's automation, which is actually kind of an umbrella term that covers a lot of stuff. So automation has been around for a long time. We've seen automation being used from the very first kind of factory assembly lines. And in the past, it was very much about automating very repetitive jobs. What the rise of artificial intelligence and machine learning has allowed for is for more complex tasks to now be automated. So, I mean, an example that's close to everyone's hearts here is around translation and language software. So these are obviously much more complex tasks that are now being automated as a result of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's kind of the three different categories. Almost everything kind of falls under the topic of automation, but some of that automation may be enabled by artificial intelligence. Some of that may just be very basic automation of repetitive tasks, what we call robotic process automation. And the artificial intelligence itself is often being powered by machine learning. So it's machine learning that's driving it. And the machine learning, finally, is being powered by lots and lots of data. And that is kind of the unique thing about the time that we find ourselves in now, is because we are generating so much data with our cameras, with our shopping habits, with our browsing histories. It has been what's driven this kind of machine learning revolution, and then the artificial intelligence revolution. Google would not be able to do the very clever image recognition that it is capable of doing if it weren't for the fact that it had access to thousands and thousands of photos. So that kind of rise in the amount of data has been the underlying thing that has been driving all of this this process. So the subject of today's conference is what the impact of this is going to be. So what are the opportunities? What is the impact of this type of automation driven by artificial intelligence, machine learning, and right at the bottom there, data, and what is the what are the effects going to be? I think that it is a really interesting topic. I think it's the most important topic that we, as a society, face, probably with the exception or on a par with kind of climate change, but in a way the two are probably going to be quite closely interlinked. And so, yeah, I think that if we do kind of take the full opportunity that is there to us with this type of automation, I think there are some very exciting possibilities for what can happen. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference.